Thank you. Thanks for having me today, and really enjoyed those first two talks. They've kind of set me up perfectly for what I'm going to talk about today. So, yeah, we've gone kind of from the great how to create a great place through to the strategy behind that. And what I'm going to talk about is a piece of work that we've been doing in terms of how do we as an industry get to a place where we can start delivering in this way really effectively. So as a bit of background, my name's Ross Crawford. I'm from the Design Council. The Design Council are the National Strategic Advisor on Design. So what our role is all about is championing design. And we do that through research, informing policy, and working with businesses, including national infrastructure clients, to really embed design strategy and design thinking in their ways of working. So you're probably asking, what is design thinking? We've talked a lot about the design of places today. Design thinking is kind of the step that comes before that. You might have seen this diagram before. Any designers in the room should hopefully have seen this diagram before. It's the double diamond. It is a visualization, a very basic visualization of the design process. And as you see, it kind of goes through a stage of discovery, kind of figuring out what's the challenge you're trying to find, defining that down to what's the solution you need to create, then developing and delivering that. And you'll notice that in this diagram, I've kind of blurred out the second half of that diagram. Why have I done that? Because actually, what most people think of as design is the second phase. But what about that piece that comes before? That's what sets us up for good design. So what have we been doing? We have developed a design training course, and we've been kind of using this model to embed different ways of thinking that allow us to kind of work towards this with different organizations. This is an example of the course that we've developed, and it's kind of highly interactive, using lots of activities that put people in context, lots of simple tools that they can use in their own work. And it's really about embedding people in a different way of thinking. And over the last year, we've been working with Network Rail to develop a pilot for this. It's been engaging with people who are senior decision makers in the organization, so those who are commissioning design, and that's actually by design. As I said, that first section where you really try to understand the problem, essentially where you create the brief, that's where you have the most opportunity to impact the outcomes that lead to a great place. So that's where we think there's the most value in being able to think and work in a slightly different way. So as I said, the course gives people lots of practical tools that they can use. It's not about kind of adding process or changing process. These are things that they can do within the kind of existing frameworks that they're working in as part of their teams, and it's really just to help give them the insights that allow them to create better places. So last year we ran a pilot cohort. We're now rolling out into 4 more cohorts this year, so we'll have 100 people coming through the door. And it's really not just about putting people through this course and giving them these skills to take away, but about creating a community of practice so that after they go back into the organization, they can kind of work together and kind of inspire others in the organization to work in this different way. So what we're not doing is parachuting designers into organizations. In fact, you don't even need to be a designer to come on the course. The designers aren't the heroes in this room. So why are we doing it? It's really simple. For me, what is the right answer to the wrong question? It's the wrong answer. And if you're not asking the right questions at the very beginning of a project, the outcome might not be the best that it can be. And I think that goes back to what Martin was saying about what is the purpose of what you're trying to do. And setting a really good brief is setting a project up for success and allowing us to create better places. And particularly, we've had some great examples of big stations like Grand Central, St Pancras, that there's the time, the money, the investment in these to really think through that process. But when you're working on a smaller station, having a really clear brief sets that team up for success. Another reason we're doing it, we know that 40% of emissions come from our built environment, and that's a huge challenge that can only be addressed by thinking and acting in a different way. And the key point to be able to influence that is right at the start of a project. If you're kind of trying to retrofit sustainability into a project partway through, then we'll never achieve net zero, we'll never achieve those goals. I said that one thing that Design Council does is research into design, and what our research shows is that every pound invested in design sees a £20 return. Every time I say that in a room full of people in the infrastructure industry, they ask me if I've got the numbers the right way round. But as we see funding kind of across the board being squashed, as there's kind of ever-driving need for efficiency in what we're doing, we need to be getting the pounds the right way round in that and getting as much value out of what we're putting in. And that's not just financial value. It's nice and easy to quantify financial value, but as we've talked about already this morning, the social impact, the environmental impact, really important too. And then finally, one other thing we've observed through the work we've done, and we've worked with Network Rail, not just in this training, but for a number of years now. And it's the power that small change can have. So we've talked about, some of these big flagship stations. That's great if you're in Singapore, Changi. We can't all be there. But actually, really small changes can make your experience of the railway, of a station, much better. And if you think about your journey here, I know for me this morning, the thing that made that journey so much simpler was just a nice person being there to guide me when I got off the train and didn't know where I was going. It's not always about the kind of big, high impacts. So we ran the pilot course last year. As I said, we've been rolling out this year. So it's very early stages, but what we're starting to see is that the people who are going through this course are feeling more confident. They know that they're kind of setting their teams up, setting their projects up for success. They're encouraging their colleagues to come along. And it's starting to build a kind of culture that allows that innovation to happen. And I think it's a really important thing to note that this isn't something that's restricted to designers. These are simple tools that everyone can apply into what they're doing and into lots of different contexts. And what they do is pull out insights that really allow you to set things up in the right way. So I think that's it for me.